Hi everybody, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, unfortunately today I have some bad news again. We had another fight has broken out, this time on a Royal Caribbean ship, one of the largest ships in the world. And there seems to be a lot of common threads between fights breaking out on cruise ships and the type of sailings that they are. Today's video is brought to you by private internet access. Well, if you are like me, you don't want people finding your personal information. You don't want them getting your credit card numbers. You don't want them finding your bank accounts, your home address, your phone number. You don't want people who can use that information to do really bad things to your credit score and your accounts and steal money, etc. And that's why you should always use a VPN. A VPN hides your IP address, makes it virtually impossible for them to log in and see your information and steal that information, because it's making it look like you're somewhere else. It's making you look like you're in a different country than you are actually in altogether. And it's bouncing your IP address, so it's not showing your IP of your computer. That's the big benefit of a VPN. Now, why did I choose private internet access? Well, for one thing, I could do my cell phone, I could do my computer, I could do my iPhone, I could do my laptop, I could do my office computer. I could do unlimited devices under the exact same plan. Not only that, they also have a no log policy, which means even they're not storing my personal information that can possibly be hacked by somebody in the future. And that's been proven in court by a third-party audit. So if you'd like to give private internet access a try, why not follow my link down below? You can get up to 83% off your subscription, plus 4 months free. I'm glad I use private internet access. I use it everywhere I go, and I'm sure you'll be happy as well. Thanks again to private internet access for sponsoring this video. So this fight happened on Royal Caribbean's Wonder of the Seas, one of the Oasis class cruise ships, one of the largest ships out there at sea, holds over 6,500 passengers, 2,000 crew members. There's a lot of people on board. Well, apparently the fight started somewhere around the pool area, as witnesses witnessed a lot of people running towards the pool area at the time. It was an altercation between some guests, and it was so severe that some of the guests were actually injured and had to be brought to hospital. So not just to the medical team down below, they actually had to turn the ship around. The captain made the call to turn the ship around, return back to shore, and there they had the Miami-Dade police waiting for them, as well as ambulance services, and some people were brought to hospital for further medical treatments before the ship was able to start sailing again. This is a really rare situation where a fight breaks out and the injuries are so severe that somebody needed to be medically evacuated back to shore. I also have a feeling that the captain might have been doing this because they, it's time get these people off the ship. We haven't heard too much because Royal Caribbean's keeping kind of quiet on it right now because it's an ongoing investigation, right? They have to turn over videotapes and the police are on board to, eyewitnesses, etc., especially considering that there was medical injuries that, resulted from this altercation with guests on board. And so we'll have to wait and see what more becomes of this. I imagine these guests will most likely be banned from Royal Caribbean and Celebrity Cruise Line as well. I imagine there could even be charges if somebody is so severely hurt that they actually needed medical attention. This could be a criminal case going forward, not just a banning from the cruise line. So we'll have to wait and see if more happens from this. Now, a coincidence again, Royal Caribbean is turning over a lot of their large ships, their Oasis class ships, into 3- and 4-day cruises, and that just happened on the Wonder. So the Wonder was sailing a much shorter itinerary. It's due back in port on Friday. and switching over to new passengers. So is this a correlation? Are we seeing a correlation between short cruises and more of these fights and breakouts at sea? For a long time, it wasn't the case, but a long time Carnival had this, stigma over them where they're the rowdy cruise, they're the ones where people are getting into fights and everything. But as of recently, we've started to see more fights break out as well now on Royal Caribbean ships. And so far the fights have all been the short cruises that I've seen on Royal Caribbean. I may be wrong, but I have seen at least 3 now, and all 3 that I've talked about were on shorter cruises. And you can kind of see the timeline of this. Now, imagine when all the Oasis class ships switch over to 3, 4, and possibly 5-day sailings, where it's great financial reasons for them. They can turn over the ships more. They can charge a little bit more for sailing because they're not as expensive as a 7-day anymore, but they're still more expensive than the day by day if you figure them out. They can get more younger people onto the cruises, more people, bigger clientele can go on a smaller shipping cruise closer to, it's closer to my home. I can just drive there, 3-day cruise on the weekend. Great. They can sell a lot more. But are we going to start to see more and more stories of rowdiness and fights on Royal Caribbean? As you know, Royal Caribbean is really centering themselves as a brand for families. And if they start to get a reputation for fights breaking out, like this one where people actually got injured, are you going to rethink your holiday on this type of brand of cruise because there's a fight? That's the story. That's the question mark that Royal Caribbean is going to have to deal with going forward. So yeah, there you are. Another fight breaks out, this time on Royal Caribbean. Let's hope it's not a trend. Let's hope this is completely a one-time thing. But we're seeing more and more of this as cruise ships get more and more crowded. People are spending more and more money, and the cruises are getting shorter and shorter. This tends to bring all this to a head. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think there's a correlation? Or you just think, yeah, just a random thing that happened? Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.